2016 was the year of the clown. If y'all remember, during this time, killer clown sightings would go viral every day on the internet. Some people were even too afraid to leave their own homes, thinking they might have a run-in with a killer clown. Definitely wasn't me. So Warner Bros. Saw the perfect opportunity to finally remake a classic Stephen King story. And listen, y'all, if you don't consider this a remake, then pretend I said adaptation. But has the movie already been made? Yes. And did they make it again? Yes. So today I'll be calling it remake. There will be spoilers, so if for any reason you haven't seen this movie yet, please go check it out. It's a classic, it's a banger, go watch it. But today, I'll be telling y'all why it is the perfect summer movie. The movie begins on a rainy day when Bill makes a paper boat for his little brother Georgie to sail down the wet roads. Hey, watch out, there's a sign. I tried to tell him. Georgie accidentally sails the boat right into the sewer where a creepy-ass clown catches it and tells him all about the fire circus activities.
Popcorn?
Popcorn!
The clown tricks Georgie into sticking his arm into the sewer to get his boat back. And then when he does, he bites off his arm and drags Georgie into the sewer with him, but this time on screen. Now we meet Mike, who is getting bullied by his granddad because he doesn't want to kill a sheep. We see Bill, Eddie, Richie, and Stanley walking out of school on the last day before summer. And here we are reminded that Richie is a funny guy.
I think the rabbi's gonna pull down your pants. Turn to the crowd and say, "Where's the meat?"
Next, Beverly is getting bullied for supposedly having more bodies than Pennywise. Ben shows us why he gets no bitches while chatting up Beverly Marsh. Well, from what I heard, Ben, if you can't bag Beverly, then you can't bag nobody. While Bill, Richie, Eddie, and Stanley are leaving the school, we are introduced into the bullies, led by Henry Bowers. And this dude got a shitty-ass haircut, let me tell you, bruh. Henry bullies the kids for a little before his police officer dad gives him that good old glasses pull-down stare down, and he fucks off. When Bill gets home, he tries to show his dad through his little design that he made with these hamster pipes that Georgie could still be alive and he might be at the Barrens. But his dad is just not fucking with it. So he starts yelling at him, starts saying, "Georgie's fucking dead, you dickhead. Fuck you, son. Fuck you, son." The so far group of 4 kids get ready to head to the Barrens when we learn Eddie is a mama's boy. Hey, but Richie wants a piece of that action too, Eddie. Now we see Mike's fear scene. He is delivering meat when he sees fire and burning hands come from behind a door. He then sees Pennywise in there staring at him with some glowing eyes before the bullies almost run him over and tell him to get out of their town. Next, Stanley is done practicing his lines for his bar mitzvah, and when he goes to put the book back in his dad's office, he sees a scary painting that he does not like. But once he puts the book down, he looks back and there's nothing on the painting. And then when he goes to pick it up, he turns around and the lady's running at him with these sharp-ass teeth, so he gets the fuck out of that room. Now Ben is at the library writing Bev a poem and also learning about Derry's past. He reads about an Easter explosion with pictures of heads and trees. Then he follows a balloon down the stairs into the library archives. He turns around and sees a headless man walking down the stairs who starts to run at him, so he dips. But then the headless man turns into Pennywise, and when he turns back around, he runs into the librarian. And he says, "Fuck reading," and gets the fuck out of there, dude. That's why I don't read, man. When Ben's leaving the library, he runs right into Henry and his goon. Henry tries to carve his name into Ben's stomach, but he only gets the H as Ben kicks him and falls back into the Barrens. He runs from him, and while he does, Henry and his goons chase him, but Henry drops his knife that he stole from his dad, so he yells at Patrick and Belch to go chase Ben while he finds his knife. Bill, Eddie, Richie, and Stanley are trudging around in the shit water when Bill finds Betty's shoe, and Richie still ain't taking shit serious.
Doesn't smell like caca to me, senor.
While deciding if they should go deeper into the sewer system, Ben comes tumbling down into the water right by the boys, and they decide to go help him. Patrick wanders into another tunnel in the sewer system where he sees zombies while looking for Ben. And he runs, but he can't go anywhere because he's trapped. The metal bars are back up, and he can't get out. And a balloon comes at him, and then it pops, and behind it is Pennywise, who runs at him and kills him. The boys are at a pharmacy getting supplies for Ben's wound when they run into Bev, getting supplies for her time of the month. The boys don't have enough money though, but it's alright. Bev distracts the pervert worker at the front counter, and while she does, the boys run out with the stuff. While they're fixing up Ben's injuries, Bill sees Bev walking towards them. Bill fucking with Bev? Okay then, Bev. Okay then. Bev says what's up to the rest of the group, and Bill invites her to come join them cliff jumping at the quarry the next day. Back at home, Bev's weird-ass dad is touching her hair in a weird, perverted way, so she cuts it all off. The next day at the quarry, the boys are spitting the loogies into the water. Let me know down in the comments, is it mass or distance? Bev pulls up and jumps off the cliff before any of the boys do, showing them who's boss.
Shit! We just got shot up by a girl!
And they play around the water for a little bit, and when they get out, the boys admire Bev sunbathing. And then they decide to go to Ben's house to check out his collection of the history of dairy and all the tragedies. He says that all the tragedies and missing people and all the disappearances all connect to the old well house. Next, Eddie is walking past the old well house when he gets scared and drops his pills. But it's alright, someone's there to help pick him up. Oh shit, it's a zombie or some type of creature. It chases him into the backyard where he sees Pennywise hiding behind a bunch of balloons. He tries to run, but there's a gate there, and he can't go. So he looks back and sees Pennywise, who gives him that classic, creepy Bill Skarsgård Pennywise smile. And then he disappears, so Eddie makes sure to take his ass home. Bev is reading her poem in the bathroom when she hears people talking to her in the drain, so she sticks a tape measure down there, and when she pulls it back out, it's covered in blood and hair. And then the hair starts attacking her and tries to pull her down into the drain, and then blood comes up and explodes everywhere and all over her bathroom. She screams for her dad, but when he comes in, he doesn't notice anything. Now Bill is chilling in Georgie's room when he sees old Georgie, so he follows him down to the basement, where Georgie tells Bill he can float too. And in one of my favorite scenes in the movie, Georgie gets more aggressive about him wanting him to float with him, and then Pennywise chases Billy back upstairs, where he slams the door. Man, I love that scene. The first time I saw it, I might have shit my pants. The kids come back to Bev's house to help her clean the bathroom. Here, Bev brings up the poem to Bill, but he got no fucking idea what she's talking about.
I don't really know poetry.
The kids go outside and talk about their spooky encounters with Pennywise when Richie explains why me and him don't see Pennywise at all.
Only virgins see this stuff?
The losers see Mike's bike by Belch's car, so they find Mike where he is held face first into some raw meat by Henry and the bullies. Also, Mike sees Pennywise waving an arm at him. Henry is about to slam Mike's head with a rock when the losers come to rescue him. They start a big-ass rock fight and the losers defeat the bullies. They leave Henry on the ground like a little bitch. With Mike now part of the losers club, the kids sit around and talk about their encounters with Pennywise when Richie asks the question we all been wanting to know about Stan's spooky encounter with the painting.
She hot?
No, Richie. She's not hot.
Ironically enough here, we also find out that Richie's biggest fear is clowns. Now in Bill's garage, the losers look at a map of Derry, confirming that everything is indeed connected to the well house. Eddie starts tripping sack and tears down the map, but now an old image of Bill's family pop up and Bill's mom morphs into Pennywise, who charges the losers through the screen. But luckily they open the garage and Pennywise disappears. Man, that is just one of my favorite scenes. Big ass Pennywise left a big ass stain in my pants. Bill is now ready to go to the old well house, but the rest of the crew is too scared, so Bill goes anyway and they follow him. Bill gives a speech and convinces the gang to join him in the well house, while Scaredy Cat Stan stays behind as lookout, and Mike, Ben, and Bev stay behind with him. After entering the house, Richie sees a missing persons flyer with his name and his face on it, so he tweaks out, but Bill calms him down by telling him it's not real. They follow a voice upstairs to see Betty Ripsom get dragged off screen. Bill and Richie follow Betty, but a door closes and separates them from Eddie. The creature from earlier scares Eddie to fall through a hole in the ceiling. Richie follows Eddie voice into a room where the door closes behind him. In this room is hella clowns, and after opening a coffin with dead Richie doll inside, Pennywise pops out and charges Richie, but luckily Bill opens the door and saves him. Fake Eddie pops out of a bed throwing up, so Bill and Eddie find themselves at a crossroad. They decide to go through the not scary at all door when they see Betty Ripsom, or at least half of her. Eddie gets up from his fall with a broken arm and Pennywise comes out of a fridge all twisted up and shit, ready to feast on Eddie. Bill and Richie grow balls to go through the door and get to Eddie. And in one of the best scenes in the movie, Pennywise trolls Bill about not being real enough for him. Then he charges Bill, but Bev is there to stick a post through his eye. He attacks the kids again before slithering back down into the well deeper into the sewer systems as the kids get out of dodge. Eddie's mom swoops him and yells at the rest of the losers. Bill brings up going back later to the house to fight Pennywise, but only Beverly is down as the kids get into an argument. Bill punches Richie after he says that Georgie is dead and the losers split up. Fast forward a month or two, we see Henry trying to shoot a cat when his dad comes and shoots the ground in front of him and his friends. Henry's missing knife from earlier comes in the mail on some Blue's Clues shit, so he takes it inside and listens to the people on TV, and he kills his dad with it while he's taking an open mouth, classic dad nap on the couch. Pennywise pops up on the TV and tells Henry to kill them all. Eddie goes to the pharmacy where Bev's bully from earlier tells him that his medicine is placebos, and she signs something mean on his cast. Bev tries to leave her house when her weird-ass dad stops her, saying he has heard things about her, and he's holding her poem. They have a little Peter Griffin chicken fight scene, and Bev knocks him out with the top of the toilet. Bev tries to leave the bathroom, but before she can, Pennywise is there and he captures her on some 365 days shit.
Are you lost, baby girl?
Bill goes to Bev's house and sees her dad knocked out, and he can't find Bev, so he goes to assemble the other losers. First, he starts with Richie, who is too busy beating Bill's ass on the game.
See that guy I'm hitting? I'm pretending it's you.
All jokes aside though, when Bill says that Pennywise got Bev. Here we see that the girl from earlier signed his cast with the word loser, which he put a V over the S, so he ain't a loser no more, is he? Eddie goes to leave after hearing the news. He tells his mom that the pills are gazebos.
They're gazebos! They're bullshit!
And he heads out the door. They gather the rest of the boys and the 6 of them go to save Beverly. They head into the well house, unknowingly followed by Henry Bowers. All the kids drop down the well in the basement with a rope except Mike, who gets attacked by Henry. Henry and Mike tussle for a bit, and Mike taps into his inner Ray Lewis and hit sticks him down the well. Bev wakes up in the sewers with all the missing kids floating above her. Pennywise shows us why they call him the dancing clown, and he grabs Bev and forces her to look into the deadlights, putting her in a trance. Stan is trying to find Bev when the lady from the painting pops out and starts eating his face. But hey, all is good. It's just a prank set up by Pennywise to scare the rest of the kids. Bill chases Georgie down the tunnels to the floating room where he sees a trance-like Bev. Or should I say tramp-like Bev? I'm sorry, Bev, I know it's not true. The rest of the losers come into the room to pull Bev down when Ben notices he can't hold it in anymore and gives Bev a fat smooch. Then she realizes he wrote the poem. Bill has sad conversation with Georgie but knows he isn't real, so he puts him down with the sheep gun. This scene is so powerful. The acting is so incredibly good, enough to make a grown man cry. The fake Georgie grows some arms and legs looking like Patrick Starr, but it's Pennywise now. He starts throwing around all 7 kids like it's nothing. He grabs Bill and tells the rest of the kids they can leave scotch-free as long as they let him have Bill. Richie gives a hell of a speech and swings a bat at Pennywise. Pennywise morphs into all the kids' biggest fears as they attack him, and for his final act morphs into Bev's father, who Bev definitely doesn't like, so she stabs a rod right through his mouth. Pennywise flips backwards deeper into the well and disappears. Outside, Bill inspires everyone to get AIDS and do a blood pact to show that they will come back in 27 years to finish off Pennywise once and for all. The movie ends with Bill chasing down Beverly for a little kissy-kissy. So first, this is the movie that really got me into horror. I remember being in 5th or 6th grade when one of my homies invited me to go see it in theaters, and I fell in love with it. I got it on Blu-ray as soon as it came out, and I watched it probably 20, 30 times, back to back on repeat, showed all my friends. It was my favorite movie at the time, and it's definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. And after I got tired of Pennywise for a little bit, I ventured off into the different ways of horror and seen all the different subgenres and watched those movies. And here we are now. And I won't be comparing this It to the miniseries, so if y'all want to see that, let me know down in the comments below. So first, let's talk about the actors. Bill is so powerful in the way that he shows his guilt and pain for Georgie, and it shows us how Pennywise is so easily able to get inside his head. And when I was younger, people used to say I looked like Bill, so that's probably why I have such a great connection with this movie and with this character. So I might be a little biased, but I thought his performance was perfect. Next, we have Eddie and Richie. I love how they go at each other the whole movie and how they play off each other so well with great chemistry. If you're bored and you're faded and you turn on this movie, you're gonna die of laughter. Whoever wrote these 2 characters, give that man some slop. Beverly has a much bigger part in this movie, and I was scared when I first realized that, but she did a great job. I see why they gave it to her. Her scenes with Pennywise are so powerful because we know her home life is fucked, and she really only has the losers to talk to this about. Ben also does a great job of being the new shy kid in town. He makes us feel for him through his acting, And he's kind of like the underdog in the story, and you just want to root for him. Stanley and Mike are good actors, but they didn't really get big enough parts in this movie. I don't know why. I was really hoping that Mike got a bigger part in this first part of the It series, but he didn't. And it's hard. Like, why would you give Mike such a small part when he has to carry the second part? I understand Stanley, because if you know how the second part goes, he doesn't need to have too much of a part here. But for Mike, it just feels wrong to give him such a small part when you know what has to happen in the second part. But that might explain why the second part turned out the way it did. Now we got to talk about Bill Skarsgård, or Bill Skarsgård. Amazing, spectacular, amazing, spectacular. That smile is so damn creepy. He does such a good job. I know people don't like the CGI, but I kind of thought it was good. It was scary. It added to Pennywise, because we know for a fact that Pennywise is not a human being. He's some type of creature, some type of animal, some type of monster. And with the CGI, we see that. The way he runs, the way he jits, the way he moves, it's so unsettling, and you know a human can't do that. In the original It, you can tell that Tim Curry, even though Tim Curry's performance is amazing, I'm not taking anything away from him, of course I think is amazing, but you can tell that he is just a human. You can tell it's just a person, a crazy guy in a costume, and doesn't really do justice to the character of Pennywise, because the character of Pennywise is not human. He is a monster. And I think Bill Skarsgård did a perfect job here. The atmosphere of this movie is so amazing. I love the summertime vibe. I love how the kids are playing in the woods and the sewers, just like I did when I was a child. It really gives me some nostalgia. The sun is shining and school just got off.
Best feeling ever.
Yeah? Try tickling your pickle for the first time.
It just adds to it. You just really feel the vibes of summer here. And I really love the little town of Derry. I love that big statue, and that, like, it's a festival scene. I would definitely be there if I lived in Derry back then. I also love the 80s vibe. I think it adds such a new and recent spin on the movie. It's way more relatable than having it set in the 60s. We have people, we know how the 80s went, we know how the 80s was, and it really gives us nostalgia for the time. Even though I wasn't able to be there during the 80s, I know what it was like. I've heard stories, and I think it does a really good representation of that, and it is just an amazing atmosphere. And I just think this movie has such a perfect summer vibe, and I think it is the perfect summer movie. Let me know y'all thoughts about this movie down in the comments below, or about any other video you'd like me to make. Please drop a like and hit that subscribe button, or Pennywise will bite your arm off. Thank y'all so much for watching, and have a blessed day. Peace.